All right, Anthony on Air podcast, back with you here after the Independence Day weekend, and we're talking about probably something that a lot of people talked about at their 4th of July barbecues, and that's Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, transferred to the same prison that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in. She is on her way there today, I believe. Today she's on her way there.
She called the Hillary suicide hotline then.
I think so.
Okay.
Who do you think Epstein killed himself? Like, who do you think killed Epstein himself? Like, a lot of people point to the Clintons. I feel like people were probably falling over themselves to get that one done. Like, a lot of people.
Definitely.
A lot of people. And
that Prince.
The Prince Edward?
Yeah,
Prince Andrew.
Definitely.
Prince Andrew.
Andrew.
I was thinking about the mussels at Prince Edward Island. Sorry. Prince Andrew. I'm always thinking about food. Prince Andrew, they say, you know, I'm going to get my wife on the phone because she knows all this stuff. She's very tuned into this. They released the log books of the people who flew, because apparently that's public, whatever. And I think my wife read all of them and like memorized all of them. It's like everybody in Hollywood, every politician, you know, it's like everybody was on that pedophile island, which is really disgusting. But I can't, before I get her on the phone, this is what I can't believe. They screwed up Epstein. Why are they sending her to the same exact place? That makes no sense, Janine. That makes no sense.
I don't get it.
I think this
now, let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
Was that his real girlfriend or no? Like, it was just his friend?
Well, did you see the documentary on Netflix?
Not on Netflix, but on HBO. I believe it was on.
Oh, there was one on HBO too?
Yes.
Okay. It's hard to categorize anybody as a girlfriend. You know, like, does a serial rapist really have a girlfriend? It's hard to, you know. But she was very like his right-hand man. She was like...
She was.
Yeah, and I think she was that weird... there's like a weird thing where if you have a female doing your bidding, it's easier to procure other females. You know what I mean? Whereas if there was like a guy doing the recruiting, I think a female would be more like, wait a second, this doesn't feel right. But the fact that another female is there is that first... It was
like, oh, okay.
It's that first like layer of letting your guard down. Like, oh, she is obviously okay.
Exactly.
I'll be okay.
So let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah, it's quite... The whole thing is just strange. But I watched that documentary and... God, it was so uncomfortable. The whole thing was just so uncomfortable.
It's creepy. It has to be similar to the one on HBO, but even so, it's very creepy, right?
It's extraordinarily creepy, and like the Prince Andrew part is the worst because he goes and gives this interview on like the BBC, and he's like, "Yeah, I never met her." And then they were like, okay, what about this picture of you and her together? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't recall that at all." And it's like, that's not how this... I feel like that old lady on that commercial. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Right? You know? It was just so... it's so very bizarre. Let's see if we get the Jeffrey Epstein expert.
Yes.
Hey, I'm doing the podcast. Do you want to just comment quickly on the Epstein thing?
Do I want to comment on it?
Yeah, because like I was saying... Yes. I was saying how they released the logs of the people, and like you knew everybody on the logbook.
Okay, I'm just making smoothies with the kids. All right, that's enough blueberries.
Okay, I'll call you back in 2 minutes.
Yes.
Call me back when you're done.
All right, call me back in 2 minutes.
Okay, that's basically my whole marriage right there. Yeah, but some of the names on this logbook that like went down to that island is very, very creepy. Now, I will say this, like, I'm sure there are people that went down to that island you know, had like some lunch to convince him to donate money to some whatever cause, got back on a plane and left. I'm sure that that happened, but I'm sure that like 80% of the people
Definitely.
probably were in on some less than Catholic behavior. Let's call it that.
Stellar
Yeah.
behavior.
And I also feel like I'm not sure if every single incident was like an underage thing or if it was more like this is Orgy Island and this is where all that sort of shit happens, you know?
Right.
Which is kind of crazy to think because I could remember back to a couple of years ago where, what's that nut bar's name? Alex Jones was on with Joe Rogan and he was like, there's a massive pedophile ring and, you know, spouting off all the crazy shit that Alex Jones spouts off. And then here, fast forward like 4 years later, here we are. And you watch this documentary and you're like, holy shit. Like there's something to this.
There's definitely something and more to this.
Right? Like.
And now I want to go watch the Netflix one.
Gotta go watch the Netflix documentary on this. It's you know, they could have probably done it in like an hour and a half. They dragged it out to 4-hour-long episodes, you know. And the whole so the thing is when you're watching it, you're like, you already know that they arrested him, but you know that she's still out there, and you're kind of watching every episode, going, how is she allowed to just roam free?
I thought that too.
And I still can't figure that out. The only thing that I could gather was that I don't know, like they were waiting to see if she did anything else or waiting to see if anybody contacted her or.
Was she giving up names?
I saw a thing that said that she is ready to give up names. Like that shit was like.
What do you think's on that list?
I don't know. When you hear some of the names on this flight list, you're gonna be like, oh shit. Like wholesome names, like Tom Hanks is on the list. He flew to that island, and yeah,
Wilson.
And I'm just like, I'm gonna be devastated if Hanks is like, you know, he's my guy. I love that guy.
Jeez.
Yeah. Just like I don't know. There's just like a shit ton of people. According to, I can't read the article because it's behind a paywall, but according to Business Insider. There are 1,510 people in Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. And according to them, you can now search it and, you know, you could see the images just before it goes to the paywall, and it's President Trump and it's Governor Cuomo and it's former President Bill Clinton and it's Charlie Rose, which does not help the situation at all. There's a lot of people. There's a lot. Naomi Campbell is on there. Courtney Love is on there. That's the thing. Like there are some names on there that you're kind of like, I don't know. I don't really see
that person doing that. Right.
I don't really see. Yeah, Nev Campbell being a big orgy person. You know, but maybe she is. I don't know. You know, I don't know.
I mean, you know.
But doesn't this all make you just question society in general? Like, what was that movie? What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman?
Oh, God. I love that movie. Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut. Okay? That movie, I watched that movie and I go, is this real? Is there really like a super secret society of socialites and millionaires and billionaires? I don't know about having huge sex orgies. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it seems possible, you know?
Well, I'll tell you something. So a friend of mine used to be a dominatrix. Look, he couldn't even drink his water right there. Right next to
Can you give up a dominatrix? I feel like this is like a mob type thing where if you're in this, you're kind of in it for life. I don't know if you can necessarily.
She's not doing it anymore.
Okay, she's not dominatrixing anymore.
No.
But she did dominatrix at one point. Okay.
Right next to Lord and Taylor, there used to be this place where men could go.
You're talking about in Manhattan?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that. And she would kind of just do it on the lunch hour.
Wait, I have so many questions. What do you mean a place to go? Like an empty building, an empty floor, an empty apartment?
It was an empty floor.
An empty floor.
And yes. And she said all like rich men would come in and just force her to just belittle them. I mean, are they hiring?
What?
I said, are they hiring?
I don't. First of all, I know a lot of people like this kind of thing. It's so foreign to me. I don't get the whole dominatrix, call me a piece of garbage. I don't get it. I mean, I know a lot of people get it. And if that's your thing, good for you. I'm happy you found your thing and nobody's getting hurt and good for you, you know? But it's very
odd.
It's as odd as the feet thing to me too. And I don't get that. I know that's a big one out there. I don't get the whole feet thing. I really don't. I really don't get it. I think I was just given the most boring sexual palette ever in existence, Janine, is what I'm kind of saying. Because I look at some of these people and they're like, I love the feet. I want to get tied up on my lunch hour. And I'm just sitting there going, I don't get it.
No, it wasn't even about getting tied up. I remember one time she told me this guy wanted to.
I'm glad I finished drinking my water. I can't wait to hear this.
He wanted her to put a plastic bag around his head, cut a hole in it,
thank God,
and smoke in it.
Smoke in it? You mean like blow smoke in the bag? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was worried there. I thought the hole was going to be for him to breathe, but no, it was for her to blow smoke in there. So secondhand smoke was his fetish? Well, he must have been pissed when they outlawed that in the 90s.
So I guess that's why you have to pay $200 to go to some place to do it, right?
Well, I think that's the other thing that annoys the average sexually boring person is the amount of money exchanged for these things that other people are like, I'll pay me $200. I'll blow smoke in your bag for you. Sounds weird to say that actually, but yeah.
Well, my point was she said like all these rich men would come in and just ask her to like call them stupid and fat and ugly and all these things.
Were they not married? Because I get that from my wife on an average Monday.
I don't even know. But yeah, I don't know, man.
That's so. Do I know this person?
No.
I don't know.
I used to work with her. Yeah, no.
Why did she give it up? It got too weird?
Maybe. I don't even know why, but she was just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm like, oh, okay.
There's also a danger in. Isn't there like a danger in this kind of thing? Like you never know who the psychopath's going to be that freaks out and.
Right. Snaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the weird part about all this stuff.
So do you want me to tell Dee about the smoking thing?
About the smoking thing? Yeah, bring it up to my wife.
Try it tonight.
See if she'll blow smoke in my bag for me. It'd be great.
You're going to call her back now, right?
I would love to have that. There was a, I did have like the closest I ever got to any of this. I worked at a place, okay, and I really don't want to give too much detail here. Let's just say one of the guys that I worked with was getting married, so it was his bachelor party, which I did not go to. Honest to God, look at your face. This is why I can't really confirm. This is why, by the way, this is all still in the what is that? The ethos, there's still a mystery around it. All I know is that one of the other guys lays a card on him and goes, "Here, go to this place and drop my name." And it wasn't like a silver. It was like a regular like business card, like. And he looked at him and he was like, "For real?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I can't join you, but this is gonna be my little gift to you." There was like an address on it, and he was like, "Go here." So they apparently went. And when because I was so intrigued, I was like, what happened there? Like, what was it like he said it was just like a glorified strip club, but that it was like literally in the in like a commercial building, and it was just like one floor, and you go in and you drop the name, and there was just like strippers and stuff, and I was like, come on, this seems like a lot for shit. He's like, there were other rooms where things were happening. He's like, but I didn't go in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there was part of me that just thought that he was just full of shit, that it was like not like
no, these things happen
as grand as,
no.
I just have such a hard time thinking, because the other thing too is I also feel like you can't really do these things. It always gets out. So I just
It's true.
I don't really see these things as being realistic too, I don't know. There's also a part of it where it's like people say what things are, and they're way blown out of proportion from what they actually really genuinely are.
No, that's true.
Yeah. All right,
that's
Dave.
True.
So give us some of the names. So we're talking about Ghislaine and the fact that she's going to the same prison that Epstein allegedly killed himself at.
Allegedly.
And they put out an article of, because you have to release flight logs, or flight logs are public knowledge, and so my wife read them and she memorized all of them. Go ahead, Dee. Give me some of the names.
Okay, I did not memorize them, but I've seen it. So some of the names that were on the list were Stephanie Germanata, who is that's her real name.
That's Lady Gaga. Janine knew it. Go ahead.
Lady Gaga, that's right. Robert Downey Jr., Seth Green, James Franco, Alec Baldwin, Anderson Cooper, Barack Obama, Ben Affleck, Beyonce Knowles, Sean Carter, Chelsea Handler,
Jay-Z.
Charlie Sheen. There's tons. There's Will Ferrell, right? That's how you say his name?
Okay, like there's a prime example. Like, do we think that Will Ferrell is the weird pedophile orgy guy? I don't even think he's an orgy guy.
No.
Janine's making faces. I don't see Will Ferrell, not just because he's a funny guy. I don't know. I just don't see him as that.
Like a pervert. No. I don't.
No. I've read things and seen that he's like a really big family man. He just plays that awkward, weird kind of a guy a lot. But he's actually like a really big family man. But this doesn't make him look good.
Oh, no.
No.
Who else?
Let's see. Jim Carrey, Jimmy Kimmel, John Cusack, Kathy Griffin, Katy Perry, whose real name is Catherine Elizabeth Hudson. Let's see. There's Chris Tucker, Chrissy Teigen, and John Legend. Bill Clinton, surprising. Let's see.
Very
There's
surprising.
a whole big list. Courtney Love, that doesn't surprise me. She's weird as it is. And then Ghislaine, and then the Virginia Roberts, who is, I believe she's the woman that came forward and why all this is happening.
Yes.
And why he went, she's the one that came out. Good for her. Did I say Kevin Spacey?
No.
Yeah, Kevin Spacey. That's a problem. Like Kevin Spacey, like you look at some of the creepy names on there, and you're like, ugh. Go ahead.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino, Pharrell Williams. Now these are people that were just on his plane, but this is public.
Right.
Like they can't say that they weren't, because all of this is public knowledge from the FAA.
Again, we should reiterate that. Again, like these are people that just visited the island, and like I said, and
they were on his plane.
I really do believe that there are people that probably went there, had a lunch, got back on the plane and left.
Definitely
got their $50,000 donation from him for their charity, and probably are kind-hearted, great people, and had nothing to do with the massive orgy taking place later on that day.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it makes them look bad that they were really associated with him. Their names are on this list, and they will forever, because this is public, be associated with him, in my eyes at least, and with other people too.
Yeah, like that's a tough pill to swallow. Like imagine you're the kind-hearted good person that went there for that donation, and now you're lumped in with Spacey and all these other people that, you know, already got a laundry list
like
of things.
Spacey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't heard from any of these people. Like, why haven't they come out and said anything? Because you're making yourself look bad by just staying quiet. Come out and say, we went for a donation. We did not know what he was doing. Why not come out and say that?
Well,
by doing that, you're supporting him, and you're not supporting the victims.
The weird thing about all of this is, like, this list came out. First of all, I didn't see any articles on it. My wife found it, right? Like, it's not. You go look at YouTube, and you can go look at the news section. It ain't on there. It's not topping anybody's list, right? Nope. Go on Fox or CNN, and they're writing about her, but they're not really making a big deal out of this. And that really just makes you feel like more uncomfortable. Like, why isn't anybody talking about this? Why isn't this being a bigger deal than it actually is? You know, and I think it's because everybody on a lot of sides is involved in this. And so they don't want to, you know.
Yeah. You probably know someone who went there for that.
Also, if you're the person that went there for your 50 grand donation and left right after lunch, do you want to be the first person to go on Instagram and be like, hey, I wasn't part of the weirdness that went on down there. I just went there for my lunch and got my 50K for my charity and left. Do you want to be the first person to say that? I don't know. That might look the guiltiest. Because what happens if the first person to say that is the guiltiest piece of garbage you could imagine?
Then you're not going to believe anybody else.
Yeah, then your little "I didn't do it" means friggin' nothing. You know,
especially if you're Spacey.
Yeah.
Allegedly, we have to keep saying in order to avoid lawsuits. Yeah, as soon as she was arrested, this was in the Daily Mail. The headline in the Daily Mail was Maxwell will be naming names. Epstein's arrested quote unquote pimp is set to cooperate with FBI in ominous news for Prince Andrew, and she could be held in prison where a pedophile killed himself. Maxwell was arrested on charges of procuring underage girls for Epstein to sexually abuse. She was arrested at a $1 million home in New Hampshire and subsequently appeared in court by video link. Pressure is growing on Prince Andrew to give evidence to prosecutors about links to Epstein and Maxwell. Epstein's former boss, Stephen Hoffenberg, said the pedophile's ex-girlfriend Maxwell knows everything and will totally cooperate. Between 2007 and 2011, Epstein transferred more than $20 million into Maxwell's bank accounts. She was arrested Thursday morning at a luxury $1 million estate in New Hampshire. Maxwell is currently in custody of U.S. Marshals. She's being brought to New York today. Sources close to the Duke say that they are bewildered because he has repeatedly offered to help the inquiry. Andrew denies having sex with Virginia Roberts Guffrey, who last night celebrated the news of Maxwell's arrest. So that's a summation of what happened over the long weekend with her. Here's the other thing too. Like I wonder like why she would be naming names, and I thought maybe she's out of money. You know, you hear that he gave her $20 million over the course of 4 years, but who knows? Maybe she blew through all that stuff.
That's what she said, but it's true.
Okay, so I have a big question here, and I have a big. So it took them a while to like get her to, maybe just to find her, to get a case against her. But why did it take so long? And why are there like stories that they couldn't find her, that they found her in New Hampshire? You could find a terrorist in a hole in the Middle East,
right?
But you can't find her in New Hampshire. You can't find her in the U.S. Really?
I think they always knew where she was. I think they were. I just think that I think that they left her out there like bait. to see if anybody would contact her, because there's no way There's no way. And if you look back, and again, this is all in the Netflix documentary. If you look back, they were surveilling him and everybody for a really long time before anything ever got out.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they knew he was super high connected. Because this all started in, what was it? Not West Palm. Where was it, D?
I think it was, right?
Was it West Palm Beach? No,
It was Florida someplace.
I feel like it was a fancier area than that. Anyway, he's in one of those super exclusive neighborhoods where you got to have $1 billion to live, and you're super high connected. So the FBI and the local authority, they knew they had to keep shit quiet, because if anything leaked out to anybody, they would get shut down right away.
Right.
The first chief that was on this, the first head investigator, he was really big on that. Like, not.
Yeah.
He wanted it out there, and he put it out there because he wanted to make it as impossible as it could be for this to get swept under the rug, and it still got swept under the rug. And when you see his face in the documentary, he's like, I literally did everything I could, and that Acosta still cut him a sweetheart deal for a year in jail, which he was able to go and come. He would go out for the day and just have to come back at night.
Oh, really?
And they showed him he would hop on a plane and fly to New York and do business in New York, and then hop on a plane and go back and go sleep in the jail that night.
So then, I hate to say, how is she still alive? If she knows so much and people know that she knows, and these are, how?
Yeah,
how?
I don't know. Because if they got to him so quickly in jail, why didn't they get to her?
There's a theory going around, and I've seen it on multiple, that she has been working with the government. Allegedly,
I was just going to say
that she has been working with them, and that's what they were protecting her, but they were letting her get emails and phone calls and everything. Allegedly, this is what is being said.
It makes sense, and maybe that's why she hasn't been touched yet, because it's kind of like,
this would be such a good movie.
This could be a great.
This could be a really good one. Get on it.
Who's going to play her?
I don't know. Courtney Cox.
Demi Moore.
Oh,
that's a good one. Yes. Who's playing him?
I don't know. Trying to think of I don't know who would play him. Let's just say Christian Bale. Christian Bale plays everybody. Matt Damon.
There you go.
Now I'm just naming people from Ford versus Ferrari. All right, I think I lost my wife.
I think so.
She hung up. I think we'll leave it there anyway.
Okay.
Quite the creepy. This is a creepy one.
I like it.
I want to hear more about your dominatrix friend. I want to learn more about this world.
See, I think you like that stuff more than you think.
No, I don't. I think I have a 3-year-old daughter that I'm trying to keep away from this shit 15, 20 years from now. So if I know about it, at least I can tell her to stay away from it all.
Honey, if you want to make $200 really quick, don't do that.
Blowing smoke into a bag. That's got to be the weirdest one I think I've ever heard.
Isn't that so weird? But you know what? If you search it, it comes up.
It does?
It does, because I looked at it. I mean,
wow.
What?
When Janine said coworker, she didn't mean at another establishment. She was in the stall next door. How much were you charging?
Maybe it was me.
To blow smoke into. Maybe it was. You know what?
You wouldn't put it past me, right?
Would not be surprised. If we ended this podcast and you were like, psst, that was me. I did that. I'd be like, okay. I'm not shocked. Not shocked at all. Not shocked whatsoever. By the way, we had 4th of July over by Janine's. We had a socially distancing 4th of July celebration. It was lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You and your husband were spectacular. The fried mac and cheese sticks were ridiculous. Where did you get those again?
From Hometown Heroes in West Islip.
There you go. Free plug for Hometown Heroes in West Islip. They were phenomenal. They were really, really good. Here's my question. I didn't get to ask you this and I don't say where you live. We could just say Suffolk County. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
The guy, the we watched a full on like Grucci firework special, and there was like multiple ones, but the one I feel like that one that's like catty cornered was like the best one. Who is that? What do they do? You know anything about them?
Apparently, well, they do it every year.
Yeah,
but this year was longer.
It was a big deal. Are they like plugged in to the? Should I ask you this off the air after? Yeah.
I don't really know too much about them. I could find out from the neighbor across the street, but they're good, right?
But that was like out of their backyard because it couldn't have been. Yeah, there was nothing else over there, right?
No.
That's crazy. That's a crazy amount of fireworks.
It was, right?
It was insane. Like I was on the air on the radio on Friday, and I was saying I won because they had somebody had arrested a bunch of guys in Colorado for having like 6 tons of fireworks. It's like 12,000 pounds of fireworks or something crazy. Jesus. And I was like, I wonder if there's going to be more illegal fireworks this year or less, given the circumstances. It definitely feels like there was more this year.
Definitely.
Yeah. And we saw them the entire way home. Like they were the whole way home. Next to the LIE the whole way. There was fireworks like crazy. In fact, we got back to our place at like 10:30, I want to say. And there were still fireworks going off. The kids were like, what's all that noise? Because they couldn't see it then. They were like, what's that noise? We're like, it's still fireworks going off. And my son was like, still? Like he made that kind of face. Like, all right, J Sabs. It was a killer 4th of July. I feel like you own that holiday.
That's my holiday.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody can do it as good as you guys do it or will ever be able to do it, but you guys did a good job. Your husband's ribs were fantastic. I could tell he worked hard on them. Those rib packages aren't easy to open. Everybody knows that.
They really aren't. Sometimes you got to get a knife or a scissor out.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to get that.
Thank you for letting me take everyone's temperatures.
You didn't have to do it rectally, though. Yeah, that was the problem I had with the whole thing. They have these new guns. Oh, you know what? Let's end the podcast. I'll tell you about it off the air. Tell you about It's really, really, the whole dominatrix things now is really starting to make a lot of sense now that I think about it. Pretty sure I saw a bowl of ball gags next to the bowl of chips that you had out there. It's kind of weird. All right, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and listening. AnthonyOnAir.com has all our links and information. Remember to rate and review if you're on Apple Podcasts, and if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, hit the thumbs up and share if you'd like. We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.